Hello, hello. Welcome everybody to tonight's organizing call. We're so grateful that each of you can join us tonight. We know some folks are still joining, so we'll get started in just a minute. I see some of you are already saying hello in the chat. If you haven't done that already, go ahead, let us know your name, your pronouns, where you're calling in from. We're so grateful that each of y'all could join us tonight. Grab some snacks, grab some water, and we'll start in just a minute. Right. All right. Let us get going. You've already heard your interpretation message tonight. And for those of you who are hearing impaired, just know that tonight our interpreter, our ASL interpreter was not able to make it, but we'll be adding that. So we won't have it live, but it'll be on the video playbacks and available for you. So thank you all, everybody, for joining us tonight. We know that you could have been anywhere, but we are so glad that you're here with us tonight. I'm Jennifer Knox, Working Families Party's National Organizing Director, and I'm calling in from my home state and battleground, Wisconsin. And thank you each for joining us from all across the country. And we'll shout some of you out in just a minute. Before we get too far, I want to say a special thanks to some of our partners that are helping make this possible. That is a huge thanks to SEIU, to BLM PAC. Thank you so much for your support in making this call possible. And then the other thing I'll say just before we get started is that we only have one ground rule. Tonight's call is an organizing call, and there is certainly room for people with different views, but this space is for people to be in community with each other. So we're asking that everyone treat each other with respect and kindness and dignity that we all deserve. Thank you so much. And now, without further ado, I'm going to get us started. We're going to invite Lexi Coburn, WFP's Radical Education team member, who's going to help talk about some basics and just make sure that we're all clear on the midterm election that's facing us right now. Lexi.
Thank you so much, Jennifer, and good evening, everyone. My name is Lexi Coburn, and I'm calling in this evening from the perpetual swing state of North Carolina. So at this point, most of us have heard that this is the most important election we've ever faced, on repeat for multiple years. So this evening, we're going to be talking about why 2022 is so important. Midterm elections get their name because they come 2 years after a president has been elected at the midpoint of the president's term. Most of the attention of midterm elections is focused on the two chambers of Congress, the United States Senate and the House of Representatives. Members of the House are elected for 2-year terms. So all 435 seats are decided during the midterm elections. Senators are elected to staggered 6-year terms. So a third of the Senate, which is 35 seats this year, are up for election. So midterm years also determine the outcomes of dozens of governor's races and statewide races like Secretary of State and Attorney General, which play critical roles in voting rights and reproductive justice. Also, hundreds of mayoral contests and thousands of battles for state legislative seats are all up for grabs. And while those races don't always grab national headlines, the overwhelming majority of legislation in this country is passed at the state level, not at the federal level. So in addition to the sheer volume of seats up for election in a midterm year, this year is particularly important because we are up against an extreme right wing. Our speakers tonight will tell you what's at stake, from abortion to common sense gun control, to our right to safety and our children's right to their safety in schools, our right to voting rights, and our rights to Social Security and Medicare, because our basic freedoms are on the ballot. Also, this election is important because we desperately need more working families champions in office. The Democratic Party is broken in many ways. Large parts of the Democratic Party are controlled by corporations and the ultra wealthy, meaning neither major party is really seen as focusing enough on working people. And don't get it twisted. We cannot allow the insurrectionist Trump Republicans to get any more hold on power. But those disillusioned by the Democratic Party can easily become non voters or organized by dangerous right wing forces that lie and say that they're for the people. And that is why WFP exists, because we know we need to build a political party that stands for the many, not the few. We know that a working families majority in our elected bodies will fight for the true heroes in our country, working people, people like us who showed up throughout this pandemic to keep our schools and hospitals open, that helped to keep our shelves stocked and our food delivered. Working people like us who are the engine of the economy in this country, because when we do well, the country does well. Many working family champions, some that you will meet tonight, have won their hard fought primaries and are now competing against extreme Republicans. We know that they are the kind of candidates that we won't have to beg to be courageous. They'll fight for our freedoms and they'll fight for our fair shot. And the reality is, we lose midterm elections if our turnout drops. Sometimes our people don't come out to vote in midterm elections because they may not understand how important electing Congress is. And sometimes our people don't come out to vote because they don't feel their vote has power. And that should be a resonant feeling. Many voters feel powerless after the fall of Roe. And many voters feel powerless against historic inflation when they may not have recovered from the pandemic recession and job loss in 2020. So, all that being said, how do we win? We win when we remind people that this election could break the current 50-50 tie in the United States Senate and increase the number of working families champions in the House. Courageous progressives have exerted real power in Congress, taking historic steps to cancel student loan debt, passing the Inflation Reduction Act and child credits that dramatically reduced poverty in America, and winning significant investments in climate change. But we have unfinished business. So we need to win this election. We win when we remind people that there is a 2-to-1 majority of voters that are opposed to abortion bans because we care about women and we care about pregnant people. Kansas is fighting and winning, and Michigan is fighting and winning. And there is a path to defend our freedoms, to defend abortion. But we have to win critical elections over the coming years. We win when we remind people that freedom and a fair shot is on the ballot, and we can win. So there are WFP candidates on the ballot all over the country, and you can find the ones in your area by texting VOTE, VOTE, to 30403. And of course, if you live in a state with a WFP ballot line like New York or Connecticut, make sure you find your candidates on the WFP ballot line. We have a lot of work ahead of us, but I believe in our working families majority, and I believe that we will win. Thank you so much for your time, and I'm going to hand it back to Jennifer.
Thank you, Lexi. Appreciate you making sure that we all have the basics as we get started here. And thank you. So many more folks are joining. See some folks from Portland, Cook County, Virginia, Philly in here, loving it. I'm now going to pass it to our first elected official and working families champion. And y'all, this sister is my absolute favorite. So I'm fangirling right now. She is a freedom fighter that needs no introductions. When you talk about courageous leadership in Congress, we're talking about longtime friend of Working Families Party, Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley. Y'all give it up in the chat for Ayanna. Welcome.
Thank you, Jennifer. What's up, family? And it's just so good to be with all of you, to be in community, albeit virtually, with my siblings in the movement. This is a convening, an assembly of some of my favorite truth tellers, justice seekers, table shakers, agitators, activists, disruptors, and most of all, community and movement builders. You know, the last 3 years, we have been confronted by some unprecedented challenges. But because of the strength of this working families majority movement, we have met the moment with unprecedented community, radical love, mutual aid, organizing and mobilizing, and we cannot let up because this movement is powerful and it has yielded victories that were already enumerated, but I think they're worth lifting up again, from the child tax credit to passing the Inflation Reduction Act to student debt relief, and in the instances of many, complete cancellation. The Working Families Majority Party seeks to usher in a politic not of transaction, but of transformation, which requires visionary, transformational leaders who will lead with conviction, who will fight to center the humanity and dignity of all people in our policies and our budgets, to leave no worker, no family, community behind, who will reject the scarcity mindset and unjust false binary choices that are so often foisted on to us. I love being in community with my Working Families Majority Party. Shout out to my brother, Maurice. I know he'll be on in a little bit. Appreciate him so very much. Thank you, Mo, for all that you do, for pouring into us. But, you know, I find when we come together, this is like part webinar. You know, we received an incredible education there from Lexi, instead of just recycling the talking points that we've heard so often. And that was important to contextualize exactly what's at stake and how far we've come. These convenings often feel like a rally and a revival. So it's like a webinar, a rally, a revival. We are 300 plus strong in these Zoom streets right now. And this is just but a small sampling of those who are ready to do the work of ushering in a politic, not of transaction, but of transformation. And how do we get there? Again, we need unapologetic leaders, leaders who will stand in the gap, leaders like Summer Lee. Y'all, they are fighting so hard to try to rob us of this victory and getting Summer Lee across this finish line, because they know just how bad and how powerful this sister is. And most of all, they know how popular our policies are. And so if as hard as they are working, we have to be just as unrelenting, just as precise, just as intentional, just as unwavering and unapologetic in our radical love and in our politics of transformation. So early vote has already started in so many states. The general election is 19 days away on November 8th. Coretta Scott King reminds us that freedom and progress are earned in every generation. That's right. Freedom and progress are earned in every generation. So we need to vote equity. We need to vote justice. We need to advocate, organize, mobilize, legislate, and vote like lives depend on it, because they do. I say policy is my love language because every inequity, every injustice is one that was legislated, that was codified in a budget or in a law. And so if we have already bore the brunt of legislated hurt and harm, I think it's high time that we legislate equity, that we legislate healing, that we legislate justice. Who we vote for determines who's elected determines the policies that are advanced. advance. And policies are not static documents that sit on some shelf. They are dynamic, living, breathing documents that determine who lives, who dies, who survives, who thrives. That is what is at stake in this moment. We know, given what has happened with the overturning of Roe and so many other instances that I could point to, with the unprecedented, unjust actions of this far-right, extremist, imbalanced Supreme Court legislating from the bench, reminding us that gains are not guarantees, which is why we need to fight like hell to preserve the gains that we've made, that have been made possible because of this working family majorities movement, and to build upon them. What does it mean to keep saying the pandemic laid bare every inequity, every disparity and injustice, and worsened it if we are going to default to an unjust status quo normal? This is the inflection moment. This is the time we have to stand in the gap. We don't have the luxury of apathy or cynicism because people are depending on us to stand in the gap. Hope is a discipline. Let us continue to practice unprecedented organizing, mobilizing, voting, and most of all, unprecedented hope. Love y'all. Let's
We
go.
love you back. We're seeing all the fire in the chat right now. Just light it up right now. All the flames going. If you are not fired up after that, I don't know, you might have to see your doctor. You know, you might have to check your pulse. We deeply appreciate you, Congresswoman Pressley. And, you know, folks in the chat were like, why isn't she my Congresswoman? And we hope one day you represent us all.
I am your Congresswoman. You can claim
There
me.
you go. There you go. We're claiming you.
Thank you, Jay Knox. Thank you, Lexi. Thank you, Maurice, my brother. Thank you, WFP. Love y'all. And come on, summer is on the way. Let's get our sister across this finish line, y'all. We need her.
We do. We can do it. We got to send Ayanna some allies. That's our job right now. That is our job. If you can take out a second right now, we're going to give you a concrete way that you can take action right now. Take out your phone and text majority to 30403. And you can see it on your screen. Text MAJORITY, majority, to 30403. And you will see come up, you'll be directed to a map. Let's take a look at the map. You can see all across the country, we've highlighted key areas, key states that we're really trying to win. You see PA lit up for Summer Lee, who you're going to hear from tonight. You see Wisconsin lit up, Texas, Oregon, all these wonderful places. And there are opportunities for every single person in this room. You can volunteer in your local community if there is something nearby, or virtually online, but take collective action. That is the point of this rally, is that each and every person take collective action. And there's some awesome prizes you can win that are connected to it. You'll see that we're earning points for every text, bank, phone bank, Canvas shift, and friend-to-friend outreach. Join us, earn some points, and you can get all sorts of cool swag. We want to send it out to everyone because we know that we want to just feel your passion to win. So again, text majority to 30403 right now so you can help fight for our working families majority. And with that said, we're going to introduce our next working families majority. This candidate is so amazing. We're so happy to have her. It's my pleasure to introduce Jamie McLeod Skinner, who is a progressive Democrat with working class roots. In her primary this year, Jamie defeated Representative Kurt Schrader, a 7-term corporate Democrat who spent his career siding with Republicans and voting against working people. Now she's working to win the general election against a Republican. She is endorsed by over 70 elected and community leaders, including Elizabeth Warren. Jamie's top priorities are addressing the climate crisis, supporting working families in the economic recovery of COVID, and protecting democracy. This is a true working families champion. Welcome, Jamie.
Well, thank you so much. And that is a tough act to follow. The Congresswoman just lit us all up. So I'm fired up right now. And I want to start out by saying thank you to you all. So my name is Jamie McLeod Skinner. I'm running to represent Oregon's 5th Congressional District, which extends from southern urban Portland to rural Central Oregon, where my wife and I live in our double wide. I would be Oregon's first LGBTQ member of Congress. So in the primary, we, not me, but we showed that the needs of working families must be front and center in order to win. We did that. Our campaign is proof that the grassroots can win if we build coalitions and work across the divide to unite. Look, whether we live in urban or rural areas, we all want to and deserve accountable representation that will fight for our families, our democracy, our climate, and our fundamental rights. We all want the same things: be able to put a roof over our head and food on our table. We want opportunities for our kids, healthcare for our families when they're sick. We don't want our homes to burn down. We want our communities to be safe. That's what's what binds us all. And working family party candidates like me will deliver on these kitchen table issues. You know, whether we're talking affordable housing, healthcare, childcare, safer communities, both from the climate crisis and gun safety, because our homes are literally burning down here in Oregon. But also protecting our fundamental rights. It's critical to protect our reproductive rights because this court we can no longer trust. They have stepped back from their responsibility to protect Americans, and that now must be codified into law from Congress, and protecting our fundamental democracy. We are up against multimillionaires who are in it for themselves and not working families. My opponent literally said that the Trump tax cuts will be, quote, good for some of us. Well, they're good for my opponent, but not for the rest of us. And instead, we should be looking at things like the child tax credit. That's what's good for working families. My opponent would ban abortion before a woman even knows she's pregnant and has no solutions for working families. You know, my district is evenly drawn. It's one of the closest in the country, but our ground game will make the difference. Working people who care about our representation will make the difference. We saw that in the primary. We're going to see that in the general. So I just want to thank you all, the Working Families Party, for your work. You've gotten us to this moment. We know you've got our back. Thank you. It's so important that we not only protect the House and the Senate, but we build a coalition of members who are committed and loyal to working people in this country, not special interests. That's why I don't take corporate PAC money. This is a time of crisis for our working families, but it's also a time of hope. But it's not a passive hope. This is an active, engaged, roll up your sleeve, knock on doors, call people, make phone calls, get engaged. That's how we win. That is how we will win, and we're going to win together. So thank you for so much. Working families are depending on us to win these races, and we must. So let's go do it.
Thank you, Jamie. I believe that we will win. We are going to fight for you, and we are going to bring it home with you, right at your shoulder. So if you just connected with what Jamie said, please right now, take out your cell phone right here, take it out. And we need you to text majority to 30403. We want everyone who's here tonight to text and then to find at least one shift that they will sign up for. That can be near you, something that you show up to in person, or it can be virtual from anywhere in the country. Every single person is capable of taking action today. So please make sure that you do not leave this call without signing yourself up for a shift. Jamie just said exactly how urgent it is. You all know, and we're capable of winning these races if we lean in. And now it is my pleasure to introduce another sister, Representative Summer Lee. Representative Presley just referred to her. She always lights it up when she comes to WFP. But if you don't already know Representative Summer Lee, you're in for a treat. In 2018, Summer became the first Black woman to be elected state representative from Southwestern Pennsylvania, winning against a 20-year incumbent. Since taking office, Summer has been a voice for the people, championing sustainable jobs, environmental justice, police accountability, and racial and gender equity. She's been a leader in the fight for $15 minimum wage in Pennsylvania. Summer has already brought nearly $2 million back to her working class district for infrastructure investments and good quality jobs. And now she is running for Congress. Welcome, Summer.
Hey, everybody. Working Families Party, what's up? It is always so good to be with you all. First of all, I want to start out by saying, and I apologize, I don't know that I had the fire that our Congresswoman Ayanna, that the People's Congresswoman Ayanna Presley has, but I'm gonna bring y'all what I can give y'all, because I know that you all have been out on these streets all over this country fighting for working families wherever you are. And right, I want to just start with that gratitude, because right now, as we are wading through so many different barriers and oppressions, as we're looking at all of these incredible campaigns that we've gotten over the finish line, mine included, right? In primaries that were nasty, right? Primaries where we saw historic levels of opposition, of spending, of tricks. We were able to step up, and we have been fighting back every way that we know how. So I just want to shout out really quickly every single organizer, activist, everybody who is an advocate, everybody who's working in every space that they're working for, building this working parties, families, majority all over this country, because we must send in some reinforcements so that our sister Ayanna Pressley can move forward with so many more victories to come, so many more pieces of legislation that we are fighting for, that you are fighting for. I just want to come and give you an update from Pittsburgh, from down here in PA12, where I believe that I'm probably in one of the wildest general elections that we have right now. Right, we have here a seat that is typically blue, a seat where, you know, folks usually don't pay attention in the primary, but this is an unprecedented year. And we know where we get progressive Black women on ballots, we know that we can expect some mess to turn up, right? So here we are running against a guy who has the exact same name as the 28-year retiring congressman. So couple that with millions of dollars and what we know to be fear-mongering dog whistles, foghorns from the Republican Party about crime and whatever else they can say to scare people off from voting for our majority. We know that if we are on the pathway to making history, that we're gonna come up against historic levels of hater. So we are fighting, we are battling, and we need folks to stay in this fight, right? We know that it's not just here in Pittsburgh where we're seeing the attacks. And we know that those attacks don't just come from Republicans. We know that those attacks are going to come from every single angle, because what we are fighting for, when you fight for working families, when you fight for poor and working class people, we know that there are going to be systemic barriers that are going to come up in our pathway. So I'm asking everybody to chip in whatever it is that you have, however you have it right now. Right? We have polls all over the country. We don't need more pollsters. We need people who are going to continue on building out and expanding the electorate. We need and we rely on your work when you go out and you take the streets and you march for rights, for victims of crime, for victims of police brutality. We need you to continue on even through the dog whistles, even as the Republicans are waging a national campaign against people who care about police accountability and justice for those families. We need you to keep marching through anyways, because when you do that, you empower us to do that. And when we send people who are going to lead with the people at the center, with Black and brown and trans and queer and poor folks, no matter where they are at the center, we know that whatever thing they throw at us, we're going to run through it, and we're going to keep building until every cycle we have not one Ayanna Pressley, but every single district across this country has somebody who's going to be fighting for their family, who's going to fight to make sure that their grandma has access to life-saving drugs, to make sure that everybody in their family has Medicare, making sure that there are no more Black and brown and poor people living next to environmental hazards. That's what we're fighting for here in PA12. That's what we're fighting for everywhere in this country. We want to make sure that no more kids, no more Black children are killed and gunned down by a police with their hands up. That's what we're fighting for in PA12 and everywhere. We want to make sure that everybody is housed in communities that they call home. That's what we're fighting for here in PA12. And I know we're fighting for that everywhere. We're fighting for a living wage and a right to a union here in PA12 and everywhere. Shout out to our Starbucks workers and our hospital workers who are still in that struggle. I know that we are fighting for transportation. We're fighting for bridges. We're fighting for common sense gun reform so that our kids are not afraid to go to school. We're fighting for Social Security benefits. We're fighting that fight because everybody in our communities, everybody in our lives and our family, they are worth fighting for. So I can tell you, we're tired here in PA12. I'm tired of the attacks. We're all tired of the slander, the campaign ads. We're tired of the people who don't support progressives the way that they say progressives should support everybody else. But I know that you're worth fighting for. And I'm not going to stop one way or another. So I just want to thank you for the courage that you give me. I want to thank y'all for the power that you share with me, that we share back with each other, and that we're building with each other. I just hope that we keep our eyes on the prize right now, because whether it's the 20 days that we have until this election or however many days that we have until the next one, we're going to build this majority, one race, one district, one state at a time, and we cannot afford to sit out not one single moment. So phone a friend, text a friend, call a friend, and let them know what's at stake right now. Let them know that they're on the ballot and that their family is on the ballot too. And let them know that a working family's majority is our future. It is not, it's not a possibility. It's what's going to absolutely happen, because we are the ones who are building that. We are the ones who are in the trenches right now. So thank you all so much for all the work that you all are doing wherever you're doing it.
Ooh, deep bow of gratitude to you, Summer. You said that we are worth fighting for, and I totally agree. But also, Summer, you are worth fighting for, and we will win together. How many of you, if you're about to make some phone calls, can you put phone in the chat? I want to see you. And those of you who are going to knock some doors, put doors in the chat. I want to see that. Is anybody coming to Wisconsin to knock some doors with me? I need you. Come out here. Join us. Let us know what you're planning to do. And if you haven't already, text majority to 30403 and make sure you sign up tonight. We got some people in here. We got some doors. We got some phones. Also, if you're going to reach out to your friends through relational contact, stick friends in the chat. We need each and every one of you to win this year. So we know that the work of these elections is done not just by the candidates, they're putting in tons of work, but it's also done by our incredible activists, leaders, and volunteers. And we truly cannot do this without each and every one of you. And now I think we're going to hear from one of our activist leaders, Andres Ponce Romero. Andres, you here? Welcome.
Yes, I am. Thank you for having me. My name is Andres Ponce Romero, as she said. I'm sorry about my connection, but I will try to speak in the best way I can with all this energy and all this love that I'm feeling about for the people that really do need the help and the passion that I'm feeling from everybody here, from the candidates and Congresswoman and everyone. But my name's Andres, and I'm based out of Nashville, Tennessee. And a few years ago, I was in a completely different space. I was actually studying physics. I was in grad school, hoping to get into academia. And now, as a former DACA recipient, I was feeling angry at that time with the lack of opportunities and the number of barriers and the lack of explanation as to why it was happening to me and to so many other people. And it really hurt. And my parents it got to a point where my parents urged me to start reading and researching as to why this was happening to like so many people. And through a lot of political education, personal political education, it actually helped me put me in a space where I wanted to do something that actually aligned with my values. Now, shortly after, I decided that I ended up joining WFP in the springtime this year as a fellow with the WFP's Freedom Corps Fellowship, and with a focus on the development team. And after that was all over, I ended up continuing to phone bank in the activist to activist space, where I ended up speaking to people and recruiting other people, just like everyone that's on here on this call right now. And it's amazing. I found it was a great way to get started for even anybody that has never done something like this. It's a great way to get started on your own. And if I can do it, anybody else can do it. And I decided to do this because not just here with the people that we are talking to here face to face, or even people in our country, but the entire world is what I am very focused on personally. And for me, everyone that is hardworking individual that is in the working class and is at the mercy of policies and decisions made like politicians, that's the reason why I do this, to be able to help with those situations. And I know it is true for me as a former DACA recipient that my legal presence and my basic human right to work or to become educated or to live a normal life has constantly been in danger in the past. And I do not want that for anybody else. Not even for people that don't even align with us. That's how important that is to me. And I really do believe in the working families majority in Congress, because I am tired of not having a life that I can't thrive in, and when poor politicians don't even have my back, and when I phone bank, I talk to people who also feel that exact same way. And I believe we can really get the world that we need, and we can win. And I hope that you will all join me in future banks and in any other volunteer opportunities that we've talked about already, the hundreds and thousands of that are going to come now and even in the future. And As we've mentioned multiple times, though, for even the people that are maybe just joining now, everyone should be texting majority on their phone at 30403, and so you can find any events near you or virtual events even. And I appreciate everybody that's here. Thank you so much for being on here. And again, I apologize for the delayed video, but I hope everyone can still hear me.
We heard you great, Andres, and we thank you so much. We know that each and every call that you've been out here making has made a difference in somebody's life. So we appreciate your dedication and the time. And I hope that each of you will dedicate some time as well to call someone, reach out to a friend. This election is historic. And we've got some folks who have like 60 points already. So dig deep. We already know that folks are digging extra deep for this election. Next, I think we got some prizes coming. Lexi, what you got for us?
Yeah, I think we do have some prizes coming. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I'm so happy that you are still here. I am so energized. I am fired up and ready to go. And we are at a point in time tonight where we're going to do some fun things. You know, activism is fun. There's pleasure in activism. And we're just going to play a quick game using a platform called Kahoot. And I'm going to just wait a moment for that to come up on the screen. All right, perfect. So you need to go on your phone or on your computer to www.kahoot.it, or if you have the app already, go via the app. And on the screen here, you'll see that the game pin is 6411686. I'll give you all just a moment to get into the Kahoot and we'll get started. All right, we see some people coming up here. Right. I saw so many people asking, how can I phone bank? How can I text? How can I send postcards? Please, please, please. You know what I'm going to say. Text majority 30403. Put in your zip code. Look at that beautiful map that Jennifer showed you, and you'll find exactly where you need to go. Awesome. Ooh, look at all these people in here. Beautiful. All right, let's give it another 30 seconds for people to get in here. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So if you're not familiar with Kahoot, this is a trivia game, and we're going to be answering 5 questions. And you have 30 seconds to answer each question. So let's go ahead and begin. Let's start. In this year's midterm elections, how many Senate seats are up for grabs? 100, 35, 15, or 23? Answer. All right, the answer is 35 Senate seats are up for election this year, 35. All right, let's see who's on the leaderboard. All right, we got General Strike, Alex, Kathleen, Daniel, and Caroline. Congratulations, y'all. We got 4 more questions. Let's go ahead and keep going. All right, next question here. In what year was the Working Families Party founded, and in what states? Was it in 2000 in Florida? Was it in 1998 in New York? Was it in 1982 in New Jersey? Or was it in 2017 in Georgia? When was the Working Families Party founded and where? All right, okay. So the Working Families Party was founded in 1998 in New York State. All right, let's see who's on the leaderboard. Let's see if General Strike is still up there. Oh, Hey, Alex took you over. We got Alex, Kathleen, Susie, Daniel, and Henry. All right, congratulations, y'all. Let's keep going. Question number 3. Since her election in 2018, how many bills has Representative Ayanna Pressley sponsored or co-sponsored that have been signed into law? Let's test your civics trainings. Let's test your civics knowledge. How many bills? And take your best guess. All right, Representative Ayanna Pressley has sponsored, co-sponsored 20 bills since she was elected in 2018. Those 20 bills are now law. What a great champion. All right, let's see what the scoreboard says. All right, we got a couple more people. Alex, Kathleen, Bella, Susie, and Patricia. All right, question number 4. It's getting tense. Let's keep going. Which progressive senator was a star runner in high school? Yeah, we're getting to the weeds. Give us your best guess. Was it Mark Kelly? Was it Elizabeth Warren? Was it Bernie Sanders? Or was it Patty Murray? Who would have thought Bernie Sanders was a star runner in his Brooklyn high school? That is exactly right, y'all. You learned something new today. You're welcome. All right, let's see the leaderboard. Whoa, that one stumped Alex. Sorry. But we got Dan, we got we got Alex, Kathleen, and Henry still hanging in there. Final question for all the marbles. Let's go, y'all. I'm rooting for each and every one of you. When is election day this year? When is it? Is it Wednesday, November 8th? Is it Tuesday, November 1st? Thursday, November 10th, or Tuesday, November 8th? When's election day? So this is gonna be good because you're gonna get that one friend on October 31st who is just like, I don't know when election day is. Can you tell me? And you're gonna know. You're gonna know. Boom. Tuesday, November 8th. Really wanted y'all to pay attention to that Wednesday, November 8th, because that is not the correct date. All right. You don't want to be telling voters bad information. Tuesday, November 8th, we are voting this year. All right. Let's see who won. Let's see who won. I'm excited. Henry got in 3rd place. Alex in 2nd place. Dan! Woo! Congratulations to Henry, Alex, and Dan. You 3 have won a $50 gift code to the WFP store. Please private message WFP Radical Education in the chat and give us your email address so you can receive your code. Congratulations, everyone. And I hope everyone learned something new and had a really fun time. Thank you all so much. And I'm going to kick it back to Jennifer.
Thank you, Lexi, our mistress of entertainment. We appreciate being edutained today. And congratulations to all the winners. Excited for each of you. Now, a special guest who, apparently was a high runner. I was looking for Mandela Barnes on that one and it slowed me down. I was too slow on that one. But we have a special guest video from none other than Bernie Sanders for each of y'all tonight. We appreciate him allocating some time to talk to WFP and all of our activists.
Let me thank the Working Families Party for hosting this event. Let me thank all of you for tuning in and getting involved in this midterm election. I know I get around a bit. And I hear from a lot of people out there who don't pay much attention to midterm elections. Nobody is running for president. There are not a lot of big debates or national media hoopla. In fact, many Americans don't even know who's running for Congress in their own district, or for the US Senate in their state, or for governor. And they're thinking, it's not a presidential election. What's the big deal? Why should I go out and vote? Why should I knock on doors or work on a campaign? Who cares? Well, let me just say this. It does matter a whole lot who controls the US Senate and the US House. And let me tell you why. This election, in less than 3 weeks, is the most important midterm election in the modern history of this country, and to a very significant degree will determine the future of the United States, and it will have a major impact on your life and the life of your entire family. That is the simple reality. As you all know, we are living in an unprecedented moment in history and in extraordinarily dangerous and unsettling times. You know, you turn on the news and it looks like it's just one crisis on top of another and on top of another. It's the economy. It's climate change. It's the attack against a woman's right to control her own body. It's the pandemic. It's the war in Ukraine. And perhaps most importantly, it's the growing effort by Republicans to undermine the very foundations of American democracy. In my view, as we enter these last few weeks of this midterm campaign, it is absolutely imperative that we not only expose Republicans for their reactionary agenda and the harm they will do to working people and the middle class, to women, to our environment, and to our democracy. That is enormously important, but it is not enough. As progressives, we have got to lay out our agenda, our vision as to where this country must go. And that is to create a government and a nation that works for all of us and not just the billionaire class. Our agenda means that we will finally take on the special interests and corporate greed in this country. We must create a tax system that is based on ability to pay, that raises the funds we need to support strong social programs for working people, children, and the elderly. We need to break up these giant monopolies who are price gouging us at the gas pump and grocery stores. Prices go up, and yet they make billions and billions in profits. Neither Democratic administrations nor Republican administrations have had the courage to break these huge corporations up, but that is exactly what we must do. We must end the absurdity of paying the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs, sometimes 10 times more than other countries for the same exact medicine. We must raise the minimum wage to a living wage, and that is more now than $15 an hour. Anybody who works 40 hours a week in America should not be living in poverty. We must ensure that it is a woman who makes choices over her body and not the government. The Supreme Court decision was outrageous. We've got to organize state by state to fight back. It is women who control their bodies, not the government. And we must do what every other major country on earth does, and that is to guarantee health care as a human right through a Medicare for All single-payer program. And I've been all over the country, and I can tell you that in my state, in California, all over this country, rental housing, the cost of rental housing is soaring. And our job now is to build the kind of low-income and moderate income housing that this country desperately needs. And that is just some of what we have got to do. But right now, at this moment, this crucial moment, our job is to rally the American people to make sure that we expand the very slim Democratic majority in the House and elect at least 2 more Democrats in the Senate who are prepared to take on the greed of the billionaire class and create a government and a society that works for all of us, not just the 1%. So yes, we must expose Republicans for how they want to move this country backwards in so many ways. But we also must talk about what has been accomplished in the last 2 years in terms of the American Recovery Plan, a major infrastructure bill, and legislation that will allow over 3 million more veterans to access VA healthcare. That's a big deal. All that's important, but as you know, it is not enough. Democrats must now make it clear that they are prepared to take on the powerful corporate interests who dominate Washington and fight for the needs of a struggling working class. If we stand united, if we do not allow Republicans to divide us up by the color of our skin or where we were born or our sexual orientation, if we don't allow Republicans to divide us up, there is nothing that we cannot accomplish. Our job right now, in the last few weeks of this campaign, is to get out there on the streets. It's to knock on doors, make phone calls, talk to our neighbors, talk to our friends and our colleagues, to get them out and vote for progressives up and down the ballot. Let's do it. Thank you all very much. Keep up the great work.
Folks are saying that in the chat. But your lighting is excellent. Do you want to try
Okay.
again? Folks in the chat can let us know if they can hear you.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, we'll take it from the top. Thank you for your patience with our technical difficulties. Again, I want to thank Lexi. I want to thank you, Jay Knox. Thank you for just carrying us through this amazing program. I want to thank Jamie McLeod Skinner, the People's Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley, Representative Summer Lee, Senator Bernie Sanders. Thank you. Andres, thank you so much for all the work that you do as a volunteer and a member of the Working Families Party. And thanks to all of you. Now, we are 2.5 weeks out from Election Day, and the stakes of this election cycle are clearer than ever. Trump Republicans are coming together to wage an all-out assault on our communities. They are well organized, they are well funded, and if they win, we know their plans. Their plan is to strip us of some of our most basic freedoms. We've heard it from many people before on this call, the freedom to plan our own families and to control our own bodies, the freedom to be who we are and to be with those we love, the freedom to receive care or to get an education without going bankrupt, even the freedom of people to decide who represents us in a democracy. Now, I want to take a few minutes to spell out WFP's plans for October and November in a little more detail. But before I do, at the Working Families Party, we came into this election with a three-pronged strategy to elect a working families majority that could protect our freedoms and fight for the future we deserve. So again, I want to share what that working family strategy is. And thanks to WFP members like you, we've already made incredible progress in all three fronts. So it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Our strategy is 1, bolstering progressive power in the House of Representatives. Now, 8 WFP champions won Democratic primaries for congressional seats across the country this cycle. From union organizer Greg Kazar in Texas, to civil rights attorney Summer Lee, who just spoke in Pennsylvania, to community leader Delia Ramirez in Illinois, to Gen Z activist Maxwell Frost in Florida. We're working hard to make sure they all win their general elections. And if they do, they will join a progressive caucus that is bolder and stronger than ever. So that's number one. Number two, fixing the Senate. According to the polls, we are within striking distance of flipping Senate seats in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. If we elect Mandela Barnes in Wisconsin and John Fetterman in Pennsylvania, we can bypass obstructionist Democrats like Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema and finally end the filibuster. They need partners. Senator Bernie Sanders needs partners like them in order to end the filibuster and in order to pass the legislation that we've been dreaming of for generations. That step alone will open the door for legislation to protect abortion rights, voting rights, union rights, marriage equality, rebalance the right-wing Supreme Court, and so much more. Third, number three, we'll win in the states. Now, the battles for abortion rights, for LGBTQ rights, economic justice, and racial justice are being fought state by state. Building power at the state level has always been a core mission of the Working Families Party, and we're doubling down on that strategy this year. This primary cycle, more than 40 WFP-endorsed new candidates for state legislature won their Democratic primaries. More than 40 new candidates, WFP-endorsed candidates, won their Democratic primaries. Now we're going to make sure that all of them win the general elections. For nearly a quarter of a century, the Working Families Party has fought to replace corporate Democrats with people's champions, often through Democratic primaries, but that's only a part of our fight. We can't build the world that we want to see or defend our freedoms and communities if we don't stop Trump Republicans from taking over the government and the country. From Pennsylvania to Wisconsin, from Georgia, where I'm at today, to Arizona and more, our WFP members are in the trenches, knocking on doors, texting, phone banking, and sending postcards. They're talking with their friends, neighbors, and loved ones about what's at stake this year and making sure everyone they know has a plan to vote. And we're mobilizing voters in 30 states to get out the vote for our entire slate of Working Families Party candidates. That's how we came together to beat Trump in 2020. That's how we'll beat the authoritarian right in 2022. But it's going to take all of us doing all we can from now through November 8th. It's crunch time. Let's bring it home.
Thank you, Mo, and thank you everybody who stayed with us tonight. We have filled over 100 shifts, but we have more people here. So if you have not yet, this is your last chance. Text majority to 30403. Find some way to take action with us, and I know that we will win. Thank you so much, and good night, everyone. Have a good night rest, and in the morning, we get back to work.